Framework cuts laptop 13 Pro pre-order RAM in half.
Yeah, investment disclosure. I'll let Luke do this one.
Massive increases in cost have forced Framework to alter pre-orders for the upcoming Laptop 13 Pro.
Laptop Pro 13. Framework Pro 13. Whatever, KidCon, you could do your thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just written wrong in here. It's not Luke's fault.
The pre-order holders report RAM allocations being cut in half and pricing for the pre-orders being updated. The company announced in a blog post that their LPCAM 2 supplier has more than doubled RAM pricing over their existing inventory. Framework chief exec and TrueSpec cable enthusiast Nirav Patel wrote that this cost increase goes far beyond anything we had predicted and anything we're able to absorb without placing our ability to operate at real financial risk. Framework says they have enough LPCAM 2 modules on hand to cover existing pre-orders, but not in capacities that match the pre-order. So no, they don't.
So so LPCAM 2 modules, it's one module per system. It's not like SODIMM where you would have two. So they have, in terms of the quantity of LPCAM 2 modules, they have enough of them, but not with the right number of dies on them.
I see. So not the right, yeah.
Yes, I see. I get it. Thanks.
That was actually pretty good. The blog post breaks down the pre-order changes. TLDR, if there aren't enough modules for your order, it's being downgraded to the next lower RAM configuration at the original price for that configuration. Okay. That's a little better than I thought. The blog also warns of cost increases on other hardware, which will impact new orders as well.
Yeah, I didn't put it in the doc for this week, I think, but TSMC, it's rumored that TSMC is increasing wafer. Oh, no, it is in here. TSMC plans chip price hikes in 2027 of baseline 5 to 10%, with some AI and HPC customers facing effective cost increases of up to 25% through additional surcharges. These reported increases are tied to rising manufacturing costs, overseas fab investments, and just plain old strong fuck you, pay me demand.
It's honestly wild. They could be, this might sound like an insane statement, they could crank it so much more.
I know.
So much more.
I know.
They literally came out and pointed at like SK Hynix and Samsung and were like, we're not doing that. They could though. And it's
really
kind of wild that they're not, and there's a lot of theories as to why.
Is it just down to like Taiwanese culture? What are the other theories?
I think it's down to the defense of Taiwan, because if they crank it too high, you're incentivizing development elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's my theory. The same guy that brought to you, maybe Bethesda should just hire the id guys to make Creation Engine.
Yeah, I mean, the other part too is I could see valuing the long-term partnership. I mean, you look at the way you can
Yes.
okay, look at what's going on with
Well, look at how hungry everyone is to switch to Chinese RAM.
what's that thing Oracle bought that everyone's all mad about? Or hold on, who oh, no, I remember. Who owns VMware right now? Broadcom. That's right. Everyone's super mad at Broadcom because they bought VMware in 2023 and have just been like cranking the screws. In fact, did that not make it into WAN Show last week? That it was a really cool article I read. I think it was on Ars Technica about a company that found a solution. It was like a restaurant chain that found a solution to converting all of their VMs. Restaurant or retail? Retail. Sorry, retail. It was a retail chain that converted all of their VMs off of VMware and just kind of like told the story of the very difficult, painful migration that they had to go through, and how just the comments was hilarious on this article because everyone was talking about how much they just fucking hate what Broadcom is doing with VMware, but they feel so locked in and they can't wait to jump ship. And I mean, maybe part of it is also just prudent business management. Just because you're on top today and you have all these partnerships today doesn't mean that, and you want to benefit from being a technology leader. So TSMC is clearly increasing pricing, but if you turn the screws too hard, you're incentivizing outside demand or outside competition. You are, I don't know, you're being kind of a jerk, and also you're making your partners irate. You're making them look for the exit. So maybe it's a little bit of all of them. Yeah. I mean, I don't sit on their board. I don't know, but just guessing. Just guessing. What else? While this is going on, NVIDIA is reportedly raising GeForce GPU kit prices. NVIDIA board partners are said to be paying more for both GDDR6 and GDDR7 GeForce GPU kits. However, the reports do not confirm whether these higher component costs will directly translate into higher retail GPU prices. But how could they do anything other than that? Okay, so GPU prices are going up. There you go. You heard it here first. Our discussion question is, PC building feels like a luxury hobby right now, but has it always been this way?
No. I would argue no. The reason why I would argue no...
I think it's cyclical. At least to a degree.
When's the last time it felt like a luxury hobby?
Oh, man,
For me, it would like basically go to before I was functional as a human.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say it felt very luxury hobby in like the early SLI days, although it didn't have to be. I mean, I think that's the difference, is that
premium options does not mean luxury hobby.
No, that's true. But I mean, working in the department that I was working in, I had a lot of exposure to the people who treated it like a luxury hobby. Like there was a player on the Vancouver Canucks who, I mean, I'm probably far enough removed from this now that I could just admit this. I would just search his name in our system once in a while just to see what kind of crazy shit he bought. Because he would just buy the highest end everything the second it came out. And like it just really surprised me the first time he like showed up on my radar, because he bought like an over $1,000 high capacity SSD. And I was like, wait, that guy? Because I don't see that as like the professional athlete thing to do. I mean, obviously he has the money, right? You know, guy had a nearly 100-mile-an-hour slap shot. He's getting paid for it. But like, he's super into like gaming and computers. He would buy things one at a time. So he's clearly doing it himself.
Yeah.
Which is like based AF.
That's cool.
He could obviously afford to have somebody else build him an Extreme Edition computer with a, high capacity Vertex 3 SSD, whatever the exact specs were.
My argument, because someone Insomniac in chat said Luke taking this stance when Linus has refreshed his computer lasts how many times? I understand where you're coming from. I don't think that's a valid argument at all. The reason why I would say that is looking at how I got into the hobby. A big part of the reason why I got into the hobby was because, oh my God, it is so much cheaper and more accessible than cars. It was like, can I go down one of these two paths, cars or computers? And it was like, well, one is hilariously expensive, requires tons of room, lots of kind of expensive tools or access to them, and oh my God, things break all the time and they cost a lot and blah, 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 blah. And the other one, I can enter with no tool costs.
Right.
At all.
Well, you could buy a bougie screwdriver to do it.
Maybe, yeah.
Or not.
Or just borrow your dad's, which he like almost certainly has at least a like Phillips screwdriver. It's like the most common thing ever to work on computers. And then when I first got into it, like my stuff wasn't nice, but it played games just fine. Dude, the entry level I can play friend slop games computer right now is still very cheap.
Yeah, I'm on here right now. Like one of our discussion questions that we hadn't got to yet, I was prepping for it, is like, hey, how cheaply could you do just like an Optiplex build these days? And it's still actually not that bad. I don't like this one. I don't like just 8 gigs of RAM.
That's
so hold
also
on.
More expensive than like
another one I liked better. Well, okay, remember though, I'm looking for 8th gen.
Yeah.
So 8th gen, 16 gigs RAM. You got to watch out for the shipping, though. It's $100 shipping on this bad boy. But that's to us. That's international shipping.
Yeah, okay.
If this was domestic shipping in the U.S., it would be considerably cheaper.
$0 import. I wonder if part of the shipping is that the import's included.
It is. It's part of eBay's whole... They have depots that U.S. sellers ship to, and then they handle all of the paperwork so that the international shipping goes smoothly. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's 16 gigs RAM, 250 gigs SSD, so you're still going to need to probably pop a hard drive in there. You're going to need a GPU, but we actually have a 1080 retrospective coming soon. And we found that the 1080 Ti in particular is actually still very usable. So for probably around $250, you could friend slop it with all your friends.
And that's just like grabbing a pretty quick eBay listing. There's a lot of the stuff that I got when I was first starting was helping people fix their computers. I don't know. A friend would want to build a computer, so I'd help them build the computer. They would want to upgrade the fans that came with the case, so they'd replace the fans that came with the case. They have a few computer fans now. They don't have any use for it. Okay, those are my computer fans now. Just little things like that as you're going along. It's a hobby that is very effective for flipping parts. You have $100 more than you had before. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. You can sell your GPU for some cash. Combine that with the $100 extra bucks you had, and get a very significant increase in GPU, and just plug that into the system you currently have. Most likely, you can keep using things like your case for a very long time. Apparently Jeff Geerling still has like one of his first ones.
Nice.
And still uses it. Even right now when it's like the worst, I was saying I think I slightly misspoke, which got people to dive on me immediately again, which is confusing to me, but whatever. I think I said something along the lines, I was surprised by that price. That isn't what I meant. I meant I was shopping for Dell Optiplexes or Dell somethings during last Scrapyard Wars. And what I was trying to point out is that is, even those systems are significantly more expensive than they were. And still, that's not a crazy amount to get into a fresh new hobby.
No.
I don't think I would put this in the category of luxury hobby. I think that's a big jump.
No, I think that's actually fair. And Pancrats posted in chat, "You're not fitting a 1080 in there, lol." To which I will reply, Not with that attitude.
Cut it.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah,
but with a bit of handiwork, anything.
Yeah, engage with the part of the hobby that's really fun.
Anything can fit in anything.
Yeah, you can figure it out. I believe in you.
Oh man. And yes, I did not factor in an extra power supply though. So you will need a better power supply in order to run a 1080 or a 1080 Ti or something like that.
But the power draw of just that card isn't going to be super high, so you could get a fairly low cap power supply for not a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, as long as it has the connectors, or you can figure out a way to get conductors connected to...
Which is fun.
Which is cool, unless you break it, and $100 is a lot of money to you, like it was in the early days of us pursuing this hobby.
Oh, dude, the panic attacks I had at times.
But the panic and the stress...
part of the fun
is what makes the payoff so worth it.
Yeah. And like, trust me guys, I get it. I understand what you're trying to project. It sucks right now. It's expensive right now.
Yeah.
It's still a hobby that people can get into with not a ton of cash. No, you're not going to have some sick 5090 full water-cooled, amazing, it has that screen thing from Corsair that you can mount anywhere and all this other fancy, crazy...
But you know what? Nobody has that stuff. I think this is something that, I think people really, really don't realize how rare the customers for this stuff are, because it's all over... like your Instagram feed or whatever. But
battle stations.
But I worked at the computer store. Do you know how few people buy $1,000 CPUs?
Yeah.
Like, that's rare. Do you know how few people are buying top-of-the-line GPUs in the grand scheme of things? What a tiny, tiny percentage of the market they make up. Most people are just, like, running a regular computer.
When I was building a bunch of computers for myself, for my friends, all that kind of stuff, everybody was sitting on 60 series. It was bougie if you got a 70. No one got an 80. 90s were absurd.
Was 90 even a thing yet?
Probably not even.
Yeah, I
think they
so.
had other nomenclature for their
8 Ultra
dual GPUs.
was a thing for a bit. And then, hold on. There were 90s. So I think a 590 was a dual GPU. Yeah, so 90s.
I was still
90s
building
were a thing.
computers for friends in that era, so
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's just, like nobody got those cards.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The first dual GPU was the 5950 X2, was it? I used to know this stuff. 5950 X2 GPU. Is that right? Oh man, no, the 7950 something. 7950 X2. What was it called? 7950 GX2. Man, that thing was so cool. Look how cool it is. It's got the whole 2 stacked PCBs, 2 whole separate coolers, internal SLI bridge. There's PCB 1. Here's PCB 2. You got the hold on, where'd the bridge chip go? There it is. Look at it go. Why does it keep changing which picture I'm looking at? Can I zoom now? Oh, come on, touchpad. Don't let me down. It let me down. I'm over it. The point is, very cool, very expensive. Almost literally nobody bought them.
Yeah. They're unheard of. It also depends on like the circles you're in, and if the only people you're hearing talk about computer stuff is dudes on the internet that only get views on their videos when they show the super fancy expensive cards, then you're just going to see the super fancy expensive cards.
And also that's what companies market too, because
that too.
It's halo marketing. And it works. And you see it across so many industries, PCs, fashion, like the amount of effort and money and time that companies spend promoting their top of the line experience that almost nobody will actually buy, but because it's cool and sexy, it creates brand appeal, and then you go in and you actually buy the thing you can actually afford. It's marketing 101. So
I have talked on this show almost as many times as I possibly can since I learned this piece of information, that a buddy of mine's son was using a 1080 to play on decently high settings at decently solid frame rates, Arc Raiders.
Yeah.
I've pointed that out like as many times as I reasonably can.
And it's worth
because I'm
noting,
trying to promote the idea that you don't have to upgrade. You don't have to spend crazy amounts of money.
And it's worth noting that compared to like our previous $69 gaming PCs that we've done in the past, this Optiplex was quite a bit more expensive, but that's because I went out of my way to pick something with a 6-core processor. Like I was going for something that wasn't
decent machine. That
wasn't quite just, barely usable today and unusable tomorrow. Like this, you could actually get a couple of years out of this thing. It's worth putting a little bit of work into fixing it up. So I did that on purpose. You could get something cheaper.